Hello out there, Purple Acorn World. John Baldino, so glad to see you all. I'm with my friend Kat Kibben. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. So good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, I'm going to start with this.
Yes.
Because this is
it,
amazing.
labor of love.
Absolutely. So, honestly, this is going to be shocking, but obviously not everybody may know you and why. How about a minute on you, background?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have been working in the recruiting industry, doing it, writing about it, thinking about it for the last, I'm going to age myself here, since about 2008.
Yeah.
And I've read all the leadership books that everyone else has. I'm a type A kind of person. I want to do it right.
Wait, what? Wait, type A, everybody.
And for many, many years, I think I always thought that the problem was me at work when I interacted with hard managers, with tough situations. I thought I just had to be better.
Yeah.
And fast forward many, many years, and I start my own business, and I realize that it's the toxicity of management that gets copied and pasted. It's not the people.
Yeah.
And what I learned after an adventure of selling everything I own and moving into a van for 3 years is how to navigate uncertainty with confidence. And that's the leadership book I wrote.
Yes.
It's about figuring out who you are so that you like yourself and you can lead your people.
Yeah. So that is so well said, by the way.
Thank you.
I love how succinct. That's awesome. So I have a few things based on that. I'm going to guess, by and large, there may be an exception to what I'm going to say, but by and large, most of those managers that you dealt with early on, the ones that really helped to shape that initial perspective that you shared, that was wrong, probably didn't sit down and specifically say, you ought not to think very well of yourself.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, genuine. I mean, you may have the one jerk who's like, you got a problem, blah, blah. But by and large, there's a lot of that you inferred and assumed and adopted, perspective-wise. Why do you think that happens?
Because we live in a society where everyone tells us that it's an effort and outcome result. And if you are a type A overachiever, what you're going to do,
world.
Exactly, welcome to the family table, you're going to think that it's always about working harder. And the managers, I got a type when it comes to managers. I've always followed the manager who was also type A, who was a high achiever, who had accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish. Because in my mind, if I follow you, that's the best way
your
to
success.
the path.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
To learn from people who actually did what I did. And ultimately what I learned is and this, is that that's not a formula for good leadership. You're not going to get the best leaders out of your best performers.
Yes.
And that transition is a real inspiration behind this book, because I, as a manager now, have a lot of empathy for people I would call a bad manager back in the day, because they were top performers who were put into leadership positions and completely untrained.
Yes. And that, I know someone is going to tell us that it is different, but by and large, many of these organizations still are moving in very, very sparse ways, under a head count for what's needed. Obviously, there's financial reasons for those things, and so we're asking, especially right now, people to do more with less, which I've been talking about for a while now, but that's where we're at. And so with that comes managers by longevity. Tenure, quite frankly.
Always.
Right, becomes really the marker of knowing whether someone is going to be promoted. Knowing this, though, when there's this available and you're a business owner, let's talk small business first.
Yeah.
When you're a business owner, how difficult do you think it is to get this message into the minds and hearts of those small business owners, right? Who are 75 employees, 50 employees even, to think this is just unnecessary. They just need to work.
I think the one thing we can all agree on, no matter how big your business is, no matter how complicated, no matter what problem you are facing, one of the biggest challenges is that we don't know what to worry about right now. I could get a deck of playing cards right now, and I could write you 52 different reasons people are worried, and they could all be wildly different from each other. Not even like variations on the colors. You know what I mean?
No, very different.
But the one thing that I think we should be upskilling every single person on is how to navigate uncertainty with confidence.
Yeah.
Because uncertainty is our only guarantee, but it is also the place where we are the least educated. Because, and I'm not going to get on my whole shtick, but capitalism doesn't benefit from people being able to navigate uncertainty. Capitalism benefits from all of us betting that if we work, we do the thing, we check the box, we do all the stuff in the right order, we will be successful. And that's not the formula now.
Well, and look, let's pull the thread a little bit.
Yeah.
This isn't soapbox, everybody. It's just we're pulling the thread. So we've got people who are this last half a year, longer for some, but I'll say the last half of this year we're in, who are getting RIF notices, who are, part of an organizational restructure or whatever the terms are. And they've worked really hard.
I was one of them.
Right.
Not this year, but in my past, absolutely.
And so, they're like looking in that proverbial mirror to say, I thought I was told I was, right? All of the rest of the sentence. There's an identity crisis there. So obviously not everybody's going to be able to sell everything and do what you did.
Yeah.
Which I love, but that's not going to be everybody's
100%.
reality. Right? There are folks that have mortgages, kids, all the things that, like, whatever the tethers are. Honestly, the other thing, taking care of their parents, all the things that people are doing. So how do you sort of introduce this idea of that step back to deal with the uncertainty?
Absolutely. And that's actually why I wrote this, is because, and why I added the van life element. Like, I could have talked about work. I could have talked about it all day. I could have made up fictional characters. I could have done whatever I wanted to. But the reality is, like, van life feels that 1 degree outside of our comfort zone. And I thought it was a lesson in autonomy. I think leadership is also perceived that way too.
Yes.
It's 1 degree outside of our comfort zone and perceived as a message of autonomy, that once you're the leader, you're supposed to know all the answers. You're supposed to figure it all out. And van life gave me this really funny lens to figure out my weaknesses in a place where I kind of had to, can I say the F word here?
Of course.
I kind of had to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Because I had never lived in a van before.
Yeah.
I had never navigated those issues.
Right.
And what it did was distill for me as, like, nothing is a solitary task. And so whether you're going through the hard thing of being laid off, you're caregiving for a parent, which, by the way, is about 20% of Americans have been impacted by one or both of those.
Yes.
Just those.
Yes.
It changes everything. And I think it's okay to say, we will change.
Yeah.
I will look that problem in the face. And this is the capture, I guess, the moment in time and all of those lessons as they stand today on a 3-year-long journey of understanding that I wasn't some autonomous vehicle as a person existing in the world.
And the interesting thing to that is, because I think we also, as a people, we're labelers, right? Love the labels. Compartmentalized thing, like, we just love it.
Of course.
And so I'm going to come at this from the other side, because in 2 years from now, I think the crime would be, oh, Kat's the van life person. That becomes the new label.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I was a job post person, van life person. I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we want to, that's how, but I think when we're truly, this messaging is beyond the traditional label.
Thank you.
Because the label is coming from what we've sort of either inferred.
The
right?
scroll.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my curiosity in saying this is 2 years from now, and you come across folks that are, oh, you're the van life person. How do we show that there's evolution to this perspective, that it isn't a snapshot in time, and it's beyond? Is that a fair question?
No, I love that. I think it's like thinking about the future of my life. And what I think you'll get when you read this book is an understanding of how someone navigates towards being able to have a conversation with themselves and diving into their humanity.
Yeah.
And I think the evolution, the growth is, like, the thing that I'm most interested in right now is understanding what separates humans from machines. What makes us uniquely human, even if we lived in a full abundance AI world where it's curing water crises and it's curing cancer, which is all a real possibility.
A very real possibility.
I think our depth is going to be in our humanity, and uncertainty is a variable that AI can't figure out, and the part that we'll all keep going back to 2 years from now. I think 50 years from now, this will still be a lesson that I have to evolve on.
And so and I think that what resonates in that is just as much as we are excited about AI in the sense of learning, it continuously learns, and we're like, that is amazing. That is fascinating. That is, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But people are really designed to do the same thing.
Yes.
We really are, everybody. But it isn't as affirmed. We've got millions and millions of dollars being invested to make sure that we've got AI that can think and evolve. Where are the millions of dollars to invest in the people who need to be set up to do the same? Yes?
Yes.
And so what's that conversation like? Not necessarily about the millions of dollars, but just the idea of it's worth the investment.
Yeah. Well, so some of the most interesting research that I'm looking at right now about what makes people uniquely human is the fact that we collect data over time and then learn to make a better decision. AI is really not good at that.
Yes.
No matter how much these people want to pitch generative and it's learning over time, that's bullshit. It's not happening right now. Because even if it is learning over time, it's not learning the best decision. It's learning the next best step. And those are two different things.
Yes.
And what we are good at is saying, I know that, and I know this, and I know that, and that's why that won't work. And recruiters are especially good at that. They're not always good at communicating it, but they do fundamentally know how to collect tiny tidbits over time with maybe a hiring manager. You've worked with them enough. You start to gather all the little details, and then you know how to manage that hiring manager. Alternatively, I think we're going to see people, and the value of people is going to be their intelligence. And that's why if there were ever a time to double down on retention, this is it.
Yes.
Because your internal employees understand the problem you solve better than anyone.
Yep.
And those are the people who are going to help you figure out how to add AI. It's not AI experts because they don't understand the problem.
Yeah.
And forever, that's been my argument on a lot of these HR tech vendors is they don't love problems. And if you don't love problems, you can't solve them.
And look, y'all, right? So I in the last minute that we have, I do want to ask, though, when you say all that, and I'm with you, but when you say all of that, it runs counter to the more comfortable messaging.
Of course.
Right?
We're saving money by erasing people.
Right. And we're more efficient. We are more whatever.
Yeah.
I think we've got an opportunity right now to be very, very double down minded in the investment to people. So give me 30 seconds on, you have 30 seconds with the CEO. Now I'll go upstream, enterprise level organization. Budgets are what they are, procurement's what it is, whatever the things are. But you're like, I want to talk people. And here's what you have to think of. What do you say to the person?
You have a broken definition of efficiency if you think that getting rid of people is a measure of efficiency. I think back, they talk about if Henry Ford had only asked his customers what they wanted, he would have ended up with a faster horse.
Right.
You need the people inside of your business who deeply understand the problem more than ever right now. And you can bring in whatever AI, technology, software, and implementation you want, but you cannot hire people off the street who deeply understand problems. And that is high efficiency work, is deeply understanding a problem and assigning a solution, not throwing solutions at a problem and really hoping they work.
So there you go, everybody. There you go. This is the bounce back. It's going over my face. Look at this instead of me. The bounce back factor. Kat, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Great to
having
see
me.
you.
You too.